Good now, revolutionaries, and welcome to the Rise Up Morning Show. I have to get a bumper sent to our guests so that they can hear our theme song because one of our audience members, longtime listener Keith, is a musician in London. And one day I got a message from him and he said, "Hey, Evan, I just composed this for the show. And if you like it, feel free to do something with it." And it was fantastic. It's like this piano bop. Good morning, the Rise Up Morning Show. And it's like so. And I was like, "Keith, are you kidding me? We're playing this every single episode, every chance we get." And then he wrote us one for the Rise Up After Dark show. He wrote us one when Bitcoin hit an all-time high. That's like a total bop. So if you are somebody who wants to contribute to the show, then you're in the right place. This is your place for helpful news, commentary, and answers to your crypto questions. If you're just seeing us for the first time, hello and welcome. My name is Evan, and we've got a couple of familiar faces and some new friends joining us too. So just since we're all getting acquainted with different audiences, I think it'd be great to go around and just start by talking a little bit about who everybody is. We're joined by our friends Lindsay and Tova, and also Mr. Mac Lorden. Maybe we can just pass the mic left and right and do a quick intro. And then let's talk about maybe the conference and what you guys have thought about it so far, because the conference hasn't even started yet, but it's been pretty good. What you got?
Has the conference really not started?
The official conference, like the conference starts today. Isn't that wild?
Yeah, why did I get here on Monday?
I know, right? Like what?
What was they doing?
I don't know. They had builders here, I think last Thursday. Some people come that Thursday through the conference ends Sunday. And then a lot of people go to Breckenridge after.
Yeah, I've heard that.
It's like a 2-week thing.
I want to note for all the listeners, it sounds like I had a crazy night, but I, in fact, actually just have really weak vocal cords and lose my voice at least once a month. So it was not that crazy of a night. I was in bed by 11.
Yeah. Lindsay, why don't you go first? A lot of our friends will remember you from After Dark, but tell the folks at home who you are and what brings you here.
My name is Lindsay Poss. I'm the host of the Seeking Alpha podcast. My day job, I work at the Stellar Development Foundation, so I have to give my plug here. Nothing I say on air today represents the Stellar Development Foundation. All these views are my own. I happen to be a huge Stellar enthusiast in my free time, so anything I say related to Stellar is related to that, not the foundation. But been in crypto for a while, and so excited to be back on the show.
I am so glad you're here. What's one thing that you're excited about that's happening in the crypto or blockchain space that you just want to learn more about?
Ooh, that's a great question. Obviously tokenization is like the trend of the moment. And I think that's probably a good thing considering all the meme coin mania. Tokenization feels just like a little bit more real. I have a friend who's working on a project to actually tokenize Bitcoin mining, which I think is pretty cool. So right now, when you buy into mining, you're actually doing it usually in a Web 2 way or platform. Which doesn't really make sense that you're buying into a Web 3 product in a Web 2 way.
Yeah.
And so he's working to actually put like mining operations on chain so that people can buy fractions of tokenized deposits in mines, which I think is really cool.
That is cool. Lower barrier to entry.
Mastermind.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Okay. Very cool. Alex, tell people who don't know, because we'll have new folks tuning in, who you are.
Yeah.
Who are you?
You know what's wild is, gun to my head like this, I have no clue how to introduce myself.
Chat, we can do it. Okay. We're gonna make side chat over here.
Cute,
ad lib.
You guys are like the we were just at Disney, right? And there's that one little show where up in the balcony are the two old man Muppets that are just shit talking everyone on stage.
Those guys at Disney?
Oh yeah.
They're
there. They just heckle the actual like Muppet production for the entire time that it's going on, and it's 100% you two idiots.
I looked up to those guys so much when I was a kid, honestly.
Yeah.
That's been my role since I've basically known you guys.
They are my father-in-law's favorite Disney characters.
Okay, so who are you?
Who am I? I'm Alex. I live here, not here, but here. And I don't know. We've been doing the show for a hot minute. My bumper sticker is that I help people navigate Web3 safely, whatever that means. Completely blockchain and protocol agnostic. I don't really give a shit what chain we're talking about or what they did or who's building what where. I'm a fan of all of it and everything. So I'm a Web3 maxi, if I'm a maxi of anything.
Hell yeah. And what are you excited about learning more, seeing this week or in the future of the space?
Well,
wow.
I was pregnant. Interestingly, California lawmakers just introduced the Meme Act. So I'm looking forward to someone dropping the hammer on the grifters that are actively ruining the good name and reputation of this industry, because it's actually pretty cool. And the loudest people speaking about it are speaking about it incredibly unhelpfully. And I would really, really love to participate in the hammer drop. So that's kind of something I'm looking forward to. As far as this conference goes, it's just, I tweeted out yesterday, I don't even care about conferences anymore. I just like to come to these things because I'm now seeing all of my friends because everyone's here. And it feels like coming home, because you're such an oddball out in real life talking about anything Web3. And you come to these places and it's just like a bunch of nerds doing.
This is where Web3 people get to be social too,
Yes.
because everyone's working remotely.
Yeah.
So this is
100%.
where we're finally like, okay, hey guy, hey, it's good seeing you again.
Yeah. So I don't know. I was excited to see just who all shows up. I've never done ETH Denver before. And as I've been saying all week, this is Evan's Coachella. So Evan is really he's really in his element here.
He brought his finest scarves for this event.
Yeah, somebody on
Hats.
Twitter said East Denver is all about the tech, except when it's all about the fashion, and it's all about the fashion. And I was like, yeah, fashion show first, tech conference
I
second.
want to note that I have been taking outfit videos every day, just in case.
I love that. The first time I came to East Denver, I did the East Denver fashion thread on Twitter, and I lost track just because I'm not a good like picture, video. I got to do like one take and one time, and then I'm done. But I just see so many great outfits. It's the most fashion forward conference, no doubt.
No, it's quite something. So anyway, I think that's probably, I don't know. I'm excited about all of it. We did a couple of videos for movement. So I've been deep into Move right now as a language.
Yeah.
And of course, I was talking to somebody yesterday about ZK proofs and digital ID, and I'm very excited about all of that. I enjoy the idea of putting more financial systems on chain, because that's kind of the whole point. That's what we're all doing here. So all that kind of pie in the sky, apparently crunchy granola Web3 stuff is very interesting to me. So consumer focus is 99% of what I'm looking at right now.
Okay, Alex, I'm really excited for you to meet our next guest, Tova. Will you introduce yourself?
Yes, hello everybody. It's wonderful to be here. Thank you for having us on. My name is Tove Andersson, and I'm the founder of Bitchcoin in honor of Satoshi's puppy, because every woman has been called a bitch, but a bitch is a female dog. And she's been sent here to teach women about crypto and blockchain technology and onboard the next 100 million women into crypto. Our thesis is that if everyone in crypto touches one woman that they love about crypto, then we would have twice the size of our industry overnight, and we would empower all of these women, because we believe that crypto it's the investment opportunity for our generation. It's what real estate was for the boomers, and we got to get the women in here, because at ETH Denver so far it's like 1 out of 10 is of the participants is a woman, and that's, I've been in crypto for the last 8 years, and that's how it's been. And so when I started, I remember going to New York for like New York Blockchain Week, and they would actually hire escorts to some of the side events to bring this feminine energy. And like, I was at the time like the CMO of a blockchain startup, and I had to start every conversation with, hey, I actually work with this technology.
Yeah.
So my background, I built the largest community for women in crypto in Northern Europe back in 2017 to create a safe space and a sanctuary for like, hey, here we can be feminine and we can ask questions. No question is stupid, and we can teach each other, because the best way to learn is actually when you teach somebody else. And since then, I've held like different titles, been CMO, been on the board of a publicly listed health tech company, looking at privacy actually for health data through blockchain technology, spoken at the United Nations this fall about our mission. I've judged this conference before, like, this is my 6th year at ETH Denver.
Yeah. Well, and that's how we met, is we were at the marketing hackathon, and I was doing a hacking, and I don't remember what it was that got us into conversation, but maybe it was your shirt. And I said, I just got to get a picture of the shirt. And we just sat down and had a wonderful conversation. And you were talking about your past getting to judge. It must be really cool seeing how like people's interests and projects have evolved or not. Maybe they haven't, like, since you started judging. But I've got to imagine it's very cool to have that perspective.
There are a lot of ideas that keep repeating through the years, and I think it's actually as the technology matures, we can get closer to actually like making them mainstream.
Yeah.
But I really liked your idea in
Thank
that hackathon of like a time capsule, some way to like engage with the local community, not just like it's almost like the crypto conferences brings a village that's like, hey, here we are. Now the village is in Denver.
Yeah.
And later it will be in Austin, and then it will be in Thailand, and it will be around the world. And we just like come in, take over a city, and we don't interact at all with
We leave a
the
lot of
locals.
cigarette butts and paper napkins.
Right. Yeah. So I really like that.
Zins, yeah. Okay, I'm very excited to get deeper into this conversation about communities and communities having tokens. But first, let me get a quick intro from my guy over here. And then...
Okay, hey guys, yeah. So many of you guys have probably seen me, longtime friend of the show, former co-founder with these guys when we started Faceless Labs, which actually gave birth to the Rise Up Morning Show. So yeah, just happy to be here. Oh, okay. Happy to be here. But yeah, I've been in this space since 2017, investor, angel investor, educator like these guys, biggest platformers on TikTok as well. So maybe you've seen me there, but now I find myself getting a lot of passion out of working in the space. So I'm with two teams right now, one called Heisenberg Network that is pre-launch, and then the other is called Cluster Network or Cluster Labs. And they've launched last month. But both are deeply involved in the AI space. So that's what I'm most excited about for East Denver and the industry in general. So.
Give me that. I just want to note, we were talking to Tuva and I about onboarding women. And I said, oh, I will trade you a Bitchcoin shirt for an onboarding your mom shirt, because the joke Alex and I make all the time is we've been onboarding your mom since 2017. A lot of the folks in our audience are like the everyday people that might see a conference like this and get really excited, but aren't like invited to the party when we have events where we talk about ZK proofs and snarks and whatever consensus mechanisms. Yeah, exactly. But I kind of wanted to start the conversation to get everyone's thoughts. Why I invited you on the show, Tuva, especially, is because I thought you articulated a lot of thoughts about how to navigate building a culture with tokens, as well as questions of like legal compliance. I think a lot of people would look at what you're doing and say like, oh, they're launching a meme coin, and have seen several people do this kind of thing before, and it's been very extractive. Alex is famously known on our show and by our audience as this. I think our audience thinks Alex is really somebody, put it in the chat. Let everybody know
Alex
if they're
is
new.
actually the CEO of Pumped Up Fun.
Yeah, he
This is a gross misrepresentation.
loves a good meme token, but also loves proper disclosure. Is that about accurate?
Yes. I do not believe that in a free and open, and if we're all here to be uncensored and permissionless ecosystem, you should be prohibited from trying something.
Yeah.
However, you should have to represent what you're doing authentically, and we should all be able to take a shit on your head if it's a terrible idea and extractive and predatory and all of these awful things that the meme coin casino has proven to be. So in theory, no, big meme fan. Famously, and I've talked about it before, I made a non-insignificant amount of money on Boeing with Hole, which was my favorite meme from last year. Yeah, right after the door fell off that plane, I was like, yeah, that's a thing. And I found the meme, and I went heavy on it, and it really paid off. And then that funded the entire rest of my year on ETH. So yeah. Oh, and also Base Jesus.
Base Jesus was good.
Yeah.
And
yeah. Oh, I thought of Evan, of course.
well, no, not me, because Base Jesus is like bald. And that's, I don't know if you've seen this, but like recently Jesse Pollock.
You're thinking of Thank You, Base God.
Oh, that's right. Was Base Jesus?
Base Jesus
like
was
Hallmark
just
Jesus, like a white guy with.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about Lil B.
It was awful, but
Yeah.
it pumped before it rugged and whatever. It was like, that was a simpler time before rugs were exclusively like these 6 Twitter insiders just sniping everybody out of a Telegram chat. And so that's the shit that I'm not a fan of. But to be fair, extractive practices are not exclusive to memes. There's a tremendous amount of
Sure.
projects in crypto. I'm sure we've all seen a number of projects in crypto that are just meant to milk people for every penny they have and then shut down.
So Tova, I would really like you to tell Alex more about how you're using it. This is not, I'm not trying to throw you to the fire
No.
here, but I
I'd
especially
love to
wanted
talk
you to
about
get to
this.
talk to Alex because
Yeah.
I said, we have a lot of questions. I would like to use tokens
Yeah.
more to build
Yeah.
community, but we're very concerned about
Yeah.
regulatory compliance. Our lawyer has said, this and that and the other thing, we've done tokens in the past, but have been, we're curious and concerned about it. And so I'd like to hear you and Alex have a back and forth conversation
Yeah,
about
let's
it.
get
Kinda.
into
Tell
it.
me what you're doing
Let's
and why
get
a
into it.
token to do this.
Yeah, I mean, the token is one part of our ecosystem. We really believe that we live in the attention economy. In order to grow and get people to be excited about crypto and blockchain, we got to lead with something that's simple and easy and fun. So that's the basics of building out the Bitchcoin brand. It's like a little bit forbidden because it's the bitch word. Everyone's been called a bitch. We take it back to be a female dog. And it's cute and it's female founded, and our ambition has been to build a wholesome community and token with that. We don't actually call ourselves a meme coin, we call it Bitchcoin. That's what it is. For anyone who want to have a look, it's bitchcoin.wtf or bitchcoin.meme. And we want to build long-term value, and that's also why we haven't pumped and rugged, because we've been working on Bitcoin for almost a year now. We're like hosting educational events all over the world. We have ambassadors in Cape Town. We've done it in Tulum, Austin, San Francisco, Sweden. And our ambition is, and this is something like, if I can, and comes back to legalities, like launching something as a meme token is the most legal thing in the crypto space. And that's why we've seen a lot of tokens, even the ones that want to build long-term value and want to build towards the decentralized future, go this route. The other thing is the meme tokens came because people were so tired about the market manipulations and the fraudulent launches of many of the actual like serious projects tokens in this space, because they launched at like market caps of $500 million. Institutional investors have already gotten in, they've gotten their bags, and then they start dumping on retail. So yeah, I'm happy to talk a lot about this, because we've looked at like, how do we do this in a very wholesome way? We've already built out a learn to earn app in Telegram. We're just about to start putting our content on there. And like, for legal questions, I can't say like, we're going to do this in the future. The token is its own, it's a way to just bring people to a community. It's a collectible. But what I would like to do, if I could just like,
wave a wand,
dream big, what we're talking about, what we would like to do is we would like to build out the learn to earn platform to continue into becoming Robinhood for women. So essentially a place where women can come, learn about Bitcoin, set up their first dollar cost averaging monthly buys, and then Bitcoin turns into the utility token of this platform. And that way, just like catches it, it's a long term, like what we're doing with Bitcoin, I would like to continue doing for 10 years. Like that's what it is. And it's worked phenomenally well with the attention grabbing thing that we're doing with it. Like, because I come from marketing, so I know how to create viral brands. And this is a brand that starts conversations, people tell their friends about it. We've already been on the front page of the Swedish biggest newspaper talking about what we're doing. So, and I've also talked to a lot of the founders of the biggest meme coins in our industry. And I've learned about what happens behind the scenes on most token launches, not only meme tokens. And I also had a call with like someone on Solana like the week before this big scandal, who just like walked me through how they launched their meme tokens there, and just and the conversation went like this. It was like, oh yeah, we launched it at nearly no valuation. Then we buy up 99% of the supply, and then we wash trade the price up to $2 to $3 million market cap. Then we bring in the KOLs, and then we bring it to the market, and then about a month later it's dead, and we do the next one. And that was like a totally honest conversation. I was like, this doesn't feel right. I don't think we're gonna work with these guys.
And that's just bullshit.
Alex, what are your thoughts? What are your questions? Oh Jesus, man, come on.
Famously, so this is the part of meme land that really hard to navigate for me, because when you take an easily accessible token that's meme in general, and it's being spearheaded by the face of somebody that you know, like, and trust for whatever reason, exactly two things happen. The people who want to be there to be supportive are the ones who buy it constantly and regularly. This is the population that is just getting repeatedly fleeced, and it really depends on how the whole thing is communicated, because I really wish that it was like possible to run all of this ethically, and I haven't seen it yet. Where okay, so in meme land, it's a very much a PvP arena, right? You're trading against each other. The only money that ever comes in and leaves the ecosystem, or the liquidity pool, needs to be put in by someone else and taken out by somebody else. When you have people watching that liquidity pool for this meme, whatever it is, get funded, there are those who just want to extract from it, which causes inevitably the price chart of these things to take a hit. Usually then what you have is a community of people around the creator or the influencer or whoever is running the main like platform of this meme, feel like they need to now buy this dip, because that's the other mantra that crypto has just pumped into all of our heads. Like, when prices crash, you have to go out and buy all of it. And if you don't, you're weak. So what you have is this price chart that goes the same way that all memes do, which is a explosion and a downward just bleed forever, maybe with some little death rattles along the way. And the people buying the whole way down to the bottom are the most diehard, loyal supporters of the thing, the entity behind the meme. And then everyone else who makes money on it is willing to sell it, because they don't feel like they're betraying anything. They don't give a shit. But the people who are there that like truly support people running the meme feel like they're betraying you if they sell it. And I've just seen this relationship play out, where the most loyal, dedicated members of a community are repeatedly taken advantage by the people who understand how the meme game is played and are willing to repeatedly fleece everyone who's they know is going to constantly be buying those dips. That's why those influencer memes last so long. So you have someone who's decided to stake their reputation on this meme, constantly telling people like, no matter what, we're going to keep going and keep building. And their supporters love them, and they keep buying, and everyone else keeps selling. And eventually, because it's exhausting to run that, built on hype, it will die. And the only people that get actually hosed are the most loyal supporters of whoever launched that thing.
I know you're going to respond, but I just want to clarify on what his position is, because for me, you kind of blurred it between legality and like what happens in free markets. So are you more upset that this is the state of, buyers in a community buying a coin that they believe in, but then they get taken advantage of because other sellers or buyers might be more savvy? Or are you more upset that the meme coin providers are able to talk with highfalutin language and sell this dream? Because it seems like there's two different things at play here.
Yeah, I would say my primary upset is your first point, which is that people who don't know how the game is played are lured in by the fact that they love somebody and they want to support them and they want to buy their thing. And because these things are always framed as like, are you sick of getting rug pulled? Here's a meme that's not going to rug you. Sure, like we're not going anywhere. We're going to be here building forever and blah, blah, blah. And that's just not how it works. And so those people are like, okay, yeah, I have been rugged a lot and I love this person and I'm going to be here and do this. And then people are like, okay, buddy, little buddy, settle down. Like, I'm going to trade the shit out of you and I'm going to take everything from you. And they don't care about the creator of the platform. So that's just unethical, because the creators know that that's the case. They know that that's how this goes. I can show you a million examples of pull up any influencer meme coin, and that's exactly what every chart looks like. And behind every single one of those is an influencer who's telling you, I'm not going anywhere. I didn't sell. I'm not. It's like, it doesn't matter if you don't. You have to know you're just like repeatedly feeding your audience to the wolves.
Yeah, I feel you on that. The only thing that just bothers me with that is that you're almost like making it impossible for anyone who does have real ambition and want to create an organic community from scratch, it's kind of like you're excluding them, because it's like, well, you know, there's so many
them from doing it with a token.
Right. Yeah, because there's so many other bad actors in the space. Like, for all we know, you know, I mean, you don't seem like the grifter type. No. But from everything that you've said and the amount of time that you've been in the space and the amount of time that you've been working on this, to me, it seems clearly that you are just trying to play the long game. And so I wouldn't fault you for doing it the way you've done. I haven't seen tokenomics, but I think that it's kind of like, if you do want to do a sort of community offering to the people that are most interested in your mission, this is one of the best ways to do it. It's just shitty that there's so many other bad actors in the space that make a bad name for it.
Yeah, I mean, again, I don't identify with the group that you're describing, and I agree with you. Like, people that are putting out a meme token and don't have a series. Like, had we wanted to do that, we would have launched Bitchcoin a year ago and pumped and dumped, and I would have had millions. Like, I've had people tell me like, hey, just launch it now, I'll send you millions. I've had that at dance floors, at conferences. And that's also why we are not calling ourselves a meme token with Bitchcoin. It's a community token. It's used to, like I said, teach people about crypto. But I agree with you in the case of putting out a token and just like, yeah, I think that speculation, first of all, I think that speculation is something humans always do. And as long as that's an honest thing, I think it's fine. I think meme coins, like Vitalik actually wrote a very interesting article about what else could meme coins be. And that's been at the heart of what we're doing with Bitchcoin. And we have people on our team from the World Bank advising us. We have the founder of Orange DAO, who's all about building, or the co-founder, Orion Parrott, who's all about building real innovation. We have developers, and we're building something real. However, from a, like what Vitalik talks about in his article, is like, this is a phenomenal way to build a real decentralized future, which is not backed by a ton of VCs that are then just the same that we have in TradFi, where like startup starts, they raise funds from private investors, then they do their Series A, then they do their Series B, they bring in private capital, then they launch at the stock market, and retail gets to buy, and maybe over 10 years double their money, whereas the institutional investors make 100x. And so I think that the thing that's been special about crypto and what drew me to this industry from the very beginning is, hey, here's a place where community builds together. Here's a place where we can crowdfund and build out a vision that is also owned together. Because I think that like the centralized future, which we're now seeing also in crypto, and AI is increasing that, is not what's the most, like, what serves humans. So so I don't think that we fall into what you're talking about at all. But and I was just on the Business Journal in Sweden actually talking about how wrong it is for like Trump to launch his meme token, because that's not what meme tokens are about. Meme tokens are about community coming together, having fun with speculation. And that again said, we don't identify as a meme token. But when it's just like president about to get into office, launching a meme token collectible, and then just like leaving it doing nothing, just extracting value. Like, we talk a lot about that actually in our team, that like we are about creating and building value, and we're all about, like I talked to you about, co-elevation. Our whole thesis is we want everyone in the community to actually grow with us. So also regardless of like, and I'm like, yeah, as a founder, like I don't even talk about like, oh, this token is going to be worth this or that. It's not what it's about. It's a membership coin to be part of our community at this point. I would like to do a lot of really cool stuff, and we're working very serious about that. But from the legal point as well, the very safe legal thing, if you're in America as a founder, is to say, this token is just for fun. This community is just for fun. We're not building value. And that has to do with the Howey test and the fourth question of the Howey test and securities law. And we can get into that if you want. But, yeah.
We're hip to the Howey test, and I don't want to take it too far there. I'm more concerned with the question that what's different it's hard to say we're different without having a discussion about like, for example, why wouldn't you just use a token like ETH to do something to prevent against people trying to mine or extract the value? What is the value of doing your own token in I don't know. I feel like Alex, you might have questions. Lindsay, you had a response too, or Mac, you were going to say something. I want to get into the mechanics of when we talked the other night, you were helping me understand how if people perceive your token there's nothing wrong with speculation, but if you're trying to use this token as like a way to get into the ecosystem, to get utility, to do things with, but it's also available for people to speculate. Maybe a good example would be another token. Are you guys familiar with VeChain, VET? It's not a meme. It's got a
Sadly, yes.
Sadly, yes. It's this interesting example of a token that has really found product market fit. People actually use it all the time to participate in this robust ecosystem of supply chain verification. And as a result of that, speculators find it very boring because they are outclassed in competing for price with people who use it every day. It's not volatile anymore. It's found its fit. But conversely, there are tokens that struggle to get off the ground because until they find their audience, people speculate on them, which makes them unappealing to use for utility because they're so up and down. And then when they find that fit, I don't know. You see where I'm going with this? I'd like to understand how more in practice you plan to protect things against things like that is what I'm saying. Do you have a thought, Lindsay, or are you just the best audience member?
No, I
Lindsay's
do.
reactions are so good.
I do really quick because I want to point out a couple of things. First is that we are so early. We're so early. And so one of the issues that I think in general that we have with tokenomics, and you just used the word utility, there's going to be all these different forms of tokens, both ones that we have thought of and ones that we haven't. And so I think as time goes on, where meme tokens are going to become their own things, governance tokens are going to become their own things, utility tokens are going to become their own things. There will be categories added. And so when we talk about finding product market fit, there's going to be more of a menu of options in designing tokenomics to actually fit a particular category. And so I think all in all, we refer to all of this right now as meme tokens. Like we've even moved away from altcoins. Like it's just everything that is not BTC or Ethereum is a meme token essentially, or Solana. But like essentially everything that's not a major is seen as a meme token. And so I do think that first we have kind of a branding problem, but that's because we're so early. And I think that as more tokenomics and protocols develop, there will become very clear use cases for different designed tokenomics. I actually was just talking to someone who worked for a long time at Reserve a couple weeks ago, and I was saying, like, I want to basically lock myself in a room for a weekend and give myself a PhD in whatever is out there in tokenomics. Like, what do I read? What papers are there? What information is there? And he's like, there's nothing. Like there's white papers and there's projects that have failed and projects that have been successful, but there is no standardization whatsoever. There's no consensus on what works whatsoever. And so we are so incredibly early, and I think it's going to take a lot of time for things to develop. With that being said too, I'm a little bit almost happy that the meme coin kind of craze and the pushback to it has already happened now. And I'm hoping that this is a lesson that continues forward, because we're all seeing like, okay, these meme tokens, they are dangerous. They do harm consumers. And so like that is a mechanic and a functionality that could eventually abstract itself away if we all agree like, hey, this isn't the direction we want the industry to move. And the fact that things got so bad so fast, I think is actually probably a net positive, rather than having a slow burn growth where we're seeing these constant rug pulls over and over. Like immediately going to the highest levels, it was like, whoa, we're all ready to pull back from this and develop some way new protocols that are much different and trust different people. And there's already going to be litigation against some of those folks. Like I actually think that the kind of rise and fall of the pump.fun thing and it happening in a relatively short time span is going to help us lead into better development of different protocols and standards across tokenomics. But we're so early that something like Bitchcoin could be a standard setter. It could not. We don't know. There could be all kinds of tokens and designs that we haven't even thought of yet. I've been like, the reason why I wanted to give myself a PhD in tokenomics is because I want so badly. Did any of you see the Mira token? When the Mira token launched, it was yes, it was one of the best stories in crypto.
Yeah.
And it was someone fundraising. And that's the other thing is like tokens are at their core right now a form of fundraising as well. You have utility, you have governance, you have fundraising, like as well as memes. But that fundraising one is one that's completely untapped. And so like creating tokens specifically around that would be incredible. I've been wanting to design a protocol specifically where founders can create a meme token, and if it takes off, they automatically get some sort of payout and rug pull from holding mass amounts of supply. But any trading and speculation that happens on top of that automatically gets sent to a charity of their choosing, or the community's choosing, or something like that.
Yeah.
So that the founder winds up with a reward for something very quickly. But then if the token continues forward, the token itself does something good. But there's there's all these different protocols and things that can be designed, and we are so early on what all of that looks like.
Yeah.
So I think that the crash and burn of meme coins is like somewhat a good thing in pushing people forward to be more creative, to be more innovative, and to be safer with what they're creating.
Yeah, and I also think the meme coin mania gives the whole industry a very healthy mirror to look in, because it's, as another investor on a panel I was talking on yesterday here at Ether said, this happens also in most of the regular token launches. It's a longer term game, but there are a lot of meme tokens out there, like you said, where it's just like, okay, here's a tech startup. They're putting out a token, and the token has nothing to do with the tech startup.
Yeah.
And it's really just a longer term pump and dump.
Can you clarify for me what you did the other day to make that clear? Because this doesn't sound like that, but a lot of, I want to hear more what you said about how you are making sure this token will not become that. Can you talk about the tokenomics, or talk about how you're tying it to the things you're doing? Because that's something our viewers especially struggle to distinguish. You know, like an altcoin that's got a buzzword attached to it. This is a DeepIn AI. It's got 12 PhDs, and they're like, I don't understand why this. And they're just selling a token. And I know that that's not what you're doing, but I'd like to hear you be more explicit about how you've done that to use this token purposefully.
Yeah, so we also have charity built into our tokens, where we will donate to, anti-trafficking and also dog shelters, because those are our two core at heart. And then we have in our tokenomics, we've built in certain goals. When we reach a certain goal in our community, we've taught 100,000 women about crypto, for example. We burn X amount of the tokens that we hold. So we have that. We're also all under a lock, like we unlock together, everyone on the team. There's no one who's unlocked at launch, for example. And we only unlock seamlessly if the chart can handle it, basically. I'm not supposed to talk about our token in any kind of way around speculation. I'm not supposed to go there as a founder. And what I can say about speculation in a free market, speculation happens when you buy a house. Like speculation is anytime you buy something and you think a little bit later I'll be able to sell this at a higher value. And I think that that's a healthy thing. And it's something that humans do, just like we do capitalism. What I think is unhealthy that we've seen in the meme coin space and in the crypto space is all of these insiders getting together, pumping a thing, and then extracting the value. And that's, I think we've hit like point corruption, both in our normal society with what our leaders are doing when it comes to like, no one is held accountable. Like, what happened to accountability for like, you made this decision that didn't go well, or like, I think it's one thing to like try something and fail, right? It's another thing to like to put up smoke and mirrors and actually just like come in with an extractive mindset. And I think that so I think that's where we're gonna go. Hopefully like the pendulum will swing from here. And again, like we don't identify at all with the meme tokens you're talking about.
And that's fine. I mean, like I said, my issue is not with it's okay. First of all, I will admit, just quick disclaimer. Like you said, it's hard to pinpoint exactly a singular upset with any of this. And I would never sit here and say that like I have the answer to fixing this entire thing. My perspective on this is slanted and anecdotal. It's not indicative of like wide sweeping data. What I know is just what I've seen and I know that Alvarez is here in the chat talking about this as well.
This is awkward, but in case anybody thinks Alex is being rude on his phone, it's because he's talking to all of you in the chat. So thank you for an active conversation.
Head down in my lap.
Just serving everybody coffee, that's all. Go ahead, Alex.
So the problem for me is representation. How people represent the token that they're using, creating, building, supporting, backing, launching, minting, whatever. I really desperately want to live in an industry where people are using tokens appropriately to experiment, to build things, to speculate if that's what you want to do, and all of these different things. It's all in how you present it. I have sent similar messages to lots of people who I've seen launch meme coins, explaining that the way that I see them doing this is not only unethical, but illegal. I've yet to have anyone take me up on an offer to like sit down and discuss why I feel that way, which is weird. It's usually people just getting defensive. And my singular mission is just to point out that you as a token, and I don't mean you, this is the proverbial you as anyone who launches a token, you have to understand that especially if you're a public figure, and especially if you have a compelling mission and message, that there are people who love you and they just need to truly understand what they're doing with the token. So to your, like you said, describing it as your access ticket. This is honestly why I am still an NFT fan. I know how it went. I know how they were 99% just JPEG branded Ponzi schemes. I totally get it. But at its core, it's a different idea. Like I can buy a product, which grants me entrance to a community and do a thing with my token and experiment and use it as a vehicle to track me as a wallet holder that's in your ecosystem and all this kind of stuff. On the meme side, the difference is just that this is now a liquid asset that has a place where people who have nothing to do with you and no desire to be involved in your community can go and trade in and out of it much quicker with much higher velocity than going to an NFT marketplace and purchasing a token that someone is listed for sale or submitting an offer
or
to
even
it.
getting like everybody in the community has an NFT that allows them to enter a token gated collectible sale.
Yeah.
Be another one I would see.
And all I think that we need to do is just be aware of it. And I think you touched on it when you say like, what you're doing here is having fun with something and recognizing like you should be actively reminding people that if you treat this like your 401k, you're just going to lose money. And that's not the point. And like you pointed out, one of the prongs of the Howey test prohibits anybody from in the United States, this is not worldwide, obviously, from indicating to people that they stand to profit from purchasing this thing from you. And I've just seen so much subliminal.
Jump in?
Of
I'm
course.
sorry.
No.
But
And
the fourth,
I do want to just point out,
Yeah.
Lindsay does
I've
have
got
to
it.
go
I've
in
got
just
it.
a minute.
Don't fret.
but just on the fourth question of the Howey test, the question is there a group or a person that is working to create value for this asset? That's the exact question. So if you mention it like, hey, yeah, we are building a startup in the back end and we're building out this platform and the token will become a utility token there, bam, security.
Yes.
If you instead say, this is a fun token and it's a utility token, it's for fun, it's something you can hold, it holds no value. And by the way, we also we make sure to remind everyone, like never invest in, never spend money you can't afford to lose on anything. Clothes, like collectibles, tokens, stocks. Sorry to interrupt you.
No, not at all.
I'm so over the Howey test, dude.
No. And
It's like 80 fucking years old.
Honestly true.
Fuck that test.
Yeah, we do need better standards.
no, we do.
Commissioner
We do.
Person, we know you're watching and we know you're working on it. So thank you.
I'm in favor of restructuring that whole thing, just for the record. I do think that most of it's bullshit.
Same.
And I recognize that I'm in the industry. So like I want there to be a way that this can all work out and anyone can launch any token that they want. And I really think that if I were to try to boil it down to one sentence, and I'll get off my soapbox, is the only thing that I've seen that really genuinely upsets me is the implication by the token creator. And I do want to also make this clear that we're talking about memes right now. I feel the same way about VC-backed predatory pre-sale, KOL insider pump and dump bullshit, where retail gets to come in after all of the fancy insiders have already purchased their tokens at a certain price And even if there's good vesting, like there's way more aggressive and shady predatory practices, honestly, in like big VC backed token launches. And there's a lot of problems with that. This is not singular to memes. And I would never like sit here and say all of those big real cryptos are good, because people get extracted from and preyed upon and all that stuff all the time. All I really want is people to stop financially incentivizing people to buy their shit. That's really it. Like making the implication that like, if you do this, you're going to profit when you don't know that. I believe that there might eventually be a way to talk about it, but right now, I just think it's our responsibility as the people who are here that are more literate in the nature of tokens to accept and understand that if you feed people online with little to no context or the wrong context, that they stand to make money from this. Also recognizing how many other people are in the space that are speaking unhelpfully about what crypto is, just leading people to believe this is your promised land. You're going to come here and you're going to get rich. All you need to do is come here and buy tokens and you're going to get rich. People have that mentality. And if you don't actively fight against it, you're just supporting that, I think, poor perception.
I agree. But how do you feel about, you just mentioned you bought a token that financed your year in crypto, and like walking the talk of then purchasing tokens that are in a speculative manner, because that is somebody else, you know, you bought low, sold high, somebody else bought high, sold low, and financed your year in crypto.
She does have to go in a minute, but I'm going to let you respond to that because it's a good question. And then I really do have a question for Lindsay, and I want to give her a plug. So give a response to this question, and then let's come back to this topic because I'm going to make a brief segue. Watch me work.
It's a great question. And I think that you have to, like I said, you have to recognize that how these things work and authentically represented. So I'm very aware that when I buy a meme that pops up on deck screen and I think looks funny and I buy it, I know that money is just being transferred from someone who bought it at a higher price than I just bought it for. That's how it works. I get it. The difference is really truly that when you're namelessly and facelessly entering a casino and gambling, that action is different. It's nuanced between an individual who has a mission and is using a token as a vehicle to deliver that mission to people, representing it differently to those purchasing it, who believe that they're doing something different than pulling the lever on a slot machine. Like, I would feel differently about going into a casino and having two machines in front of me. One of them is a slot machine that just says, you know, gamble to your heart's content. Sure. And another one with a slot machine that has a sign on it that says, this one's different. This one is special and this one loves you.
Or it's got Oprah's face and she's saying, I am so glad you're here at my slot machine. And everybody who loves me should buy a quarter and gamble it.
It just changes the nature of the decision to purchase. And I just know from talking to people that it makes them believe, even if they won't admit it completely, it makes them believe that they are now investing versus gambling. And when you change the mindset on something that is a gamble from a gamble to an investment, you're flipping the relationship that the buyer has with that asset. And they're less likely to want to quickly take profit when they realize that they're now up, or they want to secure something, or they don't want to go in quite so heavy. I would never put more than $10 in a slot machine, you know, but if I love you, I might buy $100 worth of your token because I want to support you. And especially if I think like, oh, well, this one's safe, it's going to like keep me safer, and maybe I'll also make some money. It just changes the nature of the decision. And that's where I like struggle.
I'd like to talk more about the learning platform you want to build and Coinbase Learn and why nobody's doing learning incentives. But Lindsay, I know you got to go. And we have to talk about, since you mentioned governance and all the possibilities for tokens, we have to talk about what happened last night when I became a member of Tall Dow.
Oh my gosh.
And I just want to do the official Tall Dow greeting with you way up top. So Alex is part of the Alex Dow. We're part of the Tall Dow. Are you bullish on Tall Dow?
I have no doubt.
You have no doubt. You gotta get into the Bitchcoin club, man. We gotta start onboarding. Listen, man. So how are you? Are you excited about Tall Dow? Are you excited about other things? And then you know.
I mean, this is actually a microcosm of what we were talking about with
Yeah.
going to conferences too, and just seeing all your friends. I'm gonna give a quick plug for myself too, since I have to leave. But
Yes.
I host the Seeking Alpha podcast alongside another woman who works in the industry. Part of the reason why we do that is because working in this industry is crazy. Like, you meet the most innovative, smartest people, you meet the craziest scammers, you do all of this, and it's so young that we all come together in this weird way and are all very attached to each other. And that's why these conferences are so fun. Like, there is a real crypto native and Web3 community that is like very varied. I will say Girl Crypto Twitter is like my favorite place on the whole internet, and we have a lot of fun over there.
It's
Tall
cool.
DAO is a close second. But the point is that within crypto, because we all work in what is effectively the Wild West, it's so young, everything's so young, it moves so fast. We all find, I feel like, these little ways to just have fun. And Tall DAO is one of my favorite ones. So if anyone out there wants to be onboarded into Tall DAO, let me know.
What's the cutoff? I'm
Women-
6'2". Am I getting there?
Nope. That's so funny because
Send this to 0.
there's no token.
Moderately
token.
tall Dow coming your way. Look
You
out.
know, the best part is yesterday we had a chat in Tall DAO about 6'2" dudes, the maddest ones. That
Yeah.
They can't get in.
Bullshit. Is it 6'3"?
6'3".
That's what I always wanted to be.
Sorry, man.
Tough out there. Tough out there. But yeah, so Tall DAO is just one of those examples of a really fun place on the internet, which just started to like get all the tall people in one group, and we
Yeah.
call ourselves the Talls or the Tallies.
Yeah.
And you can find us at every conference. The way to get in is by doing proof of tall, aka you have to take a selfie with a member of Tall DAO, prove that you're at least as tall or taller than them. And it's so silly in there. It's really, really silly. and
What's the
fun.
cutoff for women?
5'10".
So if you're 5'10" or above, or a man who is 6'3" or above, get at us.
Yeah.
We can induct you
Let's
into
do
Tall
proof of
DAO.
tall together.
Proof of Tall
Yeah.
together. Give us a final plug. Where can people see you? What's coming up on Seeking Alpha or in your life? Do you have any asks for the audience?
I mean, no real asks. If you want more of me, I'm at Lindsay Poss everywhere. That's Lindsay with an A, P-O-S-S. The podcast is at Seeking Alpha Pod everywhere. I'm not personally on TikTok, but the podcast is, so go follow us
Mhm.
there. I'm a tweeter. I'm a big tweeter girl. Have
Big.
been for over a decade now. That's the real trenches. Anyone who was on Twitter in 2012, please DM me. We can talk about what it's been like to be there for over a decade. But yeah, I love being here, love being in crypto. Happy to help anyone on their journeys into crypto. It's a wild, fun world out here.
Well, thank you so much for making time to hang out with us, and
Of
come back
course.
again soon. We love
Of
having you.
course. Yeah. Have so
Everybody.
much fun.
Applause for Lindsay. And
Thank you, Lindsay.
I'm going to take this moment just to quickly reset the room and say welcome to everybody who's just joining us. If you're just tuning in, this is the Rise Up Morning Show. It's your place for helpful news, commentary, answers to your crypto questions, and discussions from Ethereum Denver. That's where we are. That's where we're hanging out this week. And I do just want to take a minute to say, what the hell? Everybody just left us. I do want to take a minute to say that these are our only accounts. Wherever you happen to be watching us, you may find, if you follow this channel to keep in touch with us, that somebody who looks like me, looks like Alex, looks like Will, reaches out to you and they say, hey, I'm just checking on your investments, or hey, what are you doing? Those aren't us. We don't have any other accounts, and we will never, ever, ever message you first. No legitimate creator ever will. Those are people who are leveraging the trust we've built to try and scam you. You absolutely have to stay safe out here. And the best way to do that is by coming back to interact with communities of people that you know, like, and trust. They don't have to look or live like you, but when you're trying to learn crypto, it really helps to be in a room full of people who've done it before, who've, wasted a little time, lost a little money so that you don't have to. And our community is the Rise Up Discord server, discord.gg/riseup. It's totally free to join. We've got tons of resources there. The only thing missing is you. So check that out, and go to the riseupmorningshow.com if you want to see the other kinds of educational resources we offer. And we will have links to all of our guests in the community, because we'd love for you to follow up with them too. So, are you just getting cozy? Yeah. Get cozy. Let's get cozy. And now we've got here. I can. Now I'm like far away from everybody, but okay. No, man, I gotta have the soundboard here in case I want to do a little ding or a little. You can't hear this, but I've got like a bell sound, a guam sound. I gave Lindsay some applause when she left. I have sound clips of Alex saying things like, "I will absolutely die on this hill." And this is a gross misrepresentation of facts. It's probably my favorite. So we have a lot of fun that you'll get to hear when you listen to the recording. Two of us, since I cut you off to make a segue, I would love to give you the chance to respond to everything we were kind of saying about, helpful disclosures and regulation, but I also would love to hear more about your vision for a learning platform, because that's something we were talking about the other day that we really have the desire to build, is a place that people can come and go from 0 to 60 to become safe, confident crypto users. So the floor is yours if you'd like to talk about it. Yeah, but do it in the microphone.
I just wanted to put a cherry on top of my last thought, because one thing that I think, and I say this without being familiar with your project, and I'm more than happy to be wrong about anything. I hope that everyone who watches me knows that I'm very open to changing my mind when I'm presented with new information. I don't claim to have all the answers. I just know that I've seen certain things, and I would like to see those things get worked on and addressed. But I also firmly believe that you can't do that without being in the industry, using the tools to demonstrate that you can do a better job with something. I firmly believe that. Like, I don't think that the solution is to completely stop launching tokens and to stop trying to do better things with tokens and all this sort of stuff. And I think that you can. I truly believe, even if you are a creator who wants to launch a personally branded meme coin, I believe that you can do it better. And I think we can continue to improve it. And I just want to say that I think that it takes a lot to sit here, especially with an asshole like me, and go back and forth and talk about this kind of stuff. It is so daunting and intimidating as a founder to like be on a platform with people that you don't know and talk about, what you're doing, and not know exactly what kind of person you're going to be met with, who's going to ask questions, whether or not those questions will be in good faith or anything like that. So I want to give credit where credit is due. That I think that is super important. And we say
it's also kind of a meme because like now you're on a couch with 3 dudes who are like talking to you about crypto.
It is awful.
I'm used to it.
It's awful.
I think a conversation we should also be having is how can we all onboard women into crypto? I think that's something we should also be talking about.
I agree.
But yeah, I want to follow up on the thing you said about like person versus faceless, anonymous meme tokens, and that they're somehow different. First of all, I feel like we weren't discussing really our project. We were discussing what just happened. Well, I was talking about our project.
Sure.
I didn't feel like you were really talking about our project. But
and I would never make assumptions about your project and tell you that you're doing something, or that I've seen that you have done this wrong or this poorly. I'm speaking generally.
Yeah, you clearly, exactly. You don't know Bitchcoin or the team behind it.
Not
or
at
what
all.
We're doing.
Not at all.
But what I want to counter with what you're saying about like faceless meme tokens versus a person, I agree when it's like someone like Trump, who is like super rich, gives insiders the opportunity to buy in at very low levels, launches a token, indicates that something's going to happen with the token, and then just walks away from it. Like there's something really weird about that, because you're also mixing your personal gains with being president. So that's what I mean with like accountable. But the other side of it is
just because you mentioned this before and I wanted to say something. He was selling Bibles and watches, and then somebody told him you could sell memes on crypto and make a fuckload more
and
money.
Gold shoes and commemorative coins.
So if you're out there, if you're a world leader watching this, crypto is definitely the way you can scam the most out of your citizens, better than watches and Bibles and anything else.
Yeah, and I think that's also something that's holding our industry back. It's like developers get into crypto and they're like, wow, this is really fascinating technology. And then they get really rich fast and then they leave the industry. I think that's a reason why like people are like, why isn't this blockchain? Like, why is it moving so? Like my friend runs the business journal in Sweden, and she's asking me like, why is it moving so slow? Like blockchain, like you guys have been talking about like democratic elections without corruption. You've been talking about supply chain, like perfect tracking of like emissions and who's doing what to the environment, and like where is that? It's been like over 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's a really interesting aspect. Secondly, I think like in America you have to be an accredited investor to like invest in early startups. We're locking people out based on how much money they have, not based on their like knowledge. And to your point, like I think there is something to like, yeah, maybe there should be something like accredited investor, but rather like have you learned about what speculation is? Have you learned about never invest money you can't afford to lose? I think that those are very healthy.
I completely agree.
That I would like to see. And something else that I was talking to someone about yesterday is I would like to see a launch pad in the space that is like almost like an organic certification of like, here's a real project. It might fail, but there's a team and they're doing stuff. But with the Howey test, and this is something I would really like to see from our regulators, is actually like create a way where a startup building value that has a crowd-funded model, because they don't want to bring in the predatory VCs. Because predatory VCs also like they come with so much everyone, like I live in San Francisco, Silicon Valley, like everyone talks about the VCs as sharks because of the way they push founders, and like most founders come into building a startup with like, oh, this is my big mission and I want to serve humanity. And then like there's this like really hard push on like, no, profit. But wait, what was the question actually?
No, I honestly think you hit on it. It's the idea that there just needs to, it's hard to talk about it because in crypto, like someone just pointed out in the comments, it's very hard to like just not be a maximalist about something and then also not be perceived like you hate it.
Right.
Like,
well, and there's also just so much nuance.
There's so much nuance. I could sit here and have this conversation literally for the next 12 hours and not get bored.
Oh, but wait. You did ask about the learning platform. So what we've already built is an in-app platform together with Sire, the team at Sire. They're very fond of what we're doing. We've been talking to them about like Duolingo for learning crypto with AI. And that's a vision that their founder had before they started like, oh, we need to build the underlying technology for that first. So like we're working together with them. We have that already. Like I said, super busy at this conference, just like ensuring we bring the value to our project. But we're putting up, we have one video where you can like watch it and learn it. So it's there. I've also held over 100 educational workshops for women specifically to learn about crypto. My dad's a teacher. My great grandmother was a teacher. But what I really, but this conversation is very hard for me to have because of the Howey test. Like I don't want to, and that comes back to what you're saying. Like
that part is bullshit.
I don't know. There is something to it, which is this. I kind of like Bitchcoin to be like, this is the ticket to be part of our community. And it's fun and you get to learn with us. And also you learn by doing. I really like Bitchcoin to be that. What I separately would like to build, and I'm maybe or maybe not working on, is a place where women can come, learn, and just buy crypto. Because what's happening in the world right now, which is really fantastic, is fathers are finally including their daughters in their wills and in their inheritance. So in 2030, women will control twice the amount of assets that they own today. And women invest differently. And like I said, we are building the future of finance, and women are like 1 out of 10 right now building that future of finance. And it is a bro club. It is a wife-changing return culture. And being a woman, like I often step into a crypto meetup and I'm the only woman there. And after people have a couple of drinks, they will start getting sleazy. They will start to like hug me too long or lift me up, or a business like, oh, here's a good business partnership. And then all of a sudden it turns into like, hey, come to Japan with me. And like, I'm a married woman. I'm absolutely not interested in that at all. And then that business deal dies. So like, there's so much work there to be done. And we're doing that work. I've been doing it for 8 years. And the token part of it and the brand name, like the brand name is exciting. It's fun. It's light. It's easy. Like my husband got into crypto through Doge. He's like, and he lost a lot of money on the Solana meme coins this year. Like I think a lot of us did. But that's just a healthy part of learning the markets. Like there's also this part of like, if you don't, but that has to come with like, you start small, you learn on the markets, but like if you don't take risk, you get no reward. And that's a thing for women. We've been taught our whole life to like, oh, watch out, sweetie, don't fall, like when you're a little girl. Whereas boys are like, oh, get up, you go get him, tiger. Oh, did you fall? Yeah. And that just, yeah, totally. And so like, there's this thing about, and I've had to learn this for myself. It's like, take risk, be fearless, in the sense of, if I like, yeah, when I first got into crypto and it was the ICO boom, and I would tell my friend Pontus, who's a Swedish, well, I shouldn't out who he is, a friend of mine, nobody knows who I'm talking about. I would tell him like, hey, I think this token might be a good one. I'm gonna do some research on that. And after a while, he learned that like, wait, that was really spot on with those. So he just started buying them. If I mentioned a token, he would buy it. And I took a week to like make research, and within that week it had already like pumped, and he made so much money on that, and I was like doing research. So I started then doing the same. I was like, all right, if I have a good gut feeling about this, and I'm not recommending anyone to do, by the way, this is bad practice, but in crypto bull market at the time it worked well. If I have a good gut feeling, I'm gonna buy it, then I'm gonna do research. If my research turns out to like, I don't believe in this, I will get out of it. But that's like just an example of like male versus female investment behavior. And we are like, and I don't mean to generalize, but we are different. And we live in a society run by men. Like just look at the biggest tech founders, they're all male. So like our digital society is built by men, and that unconsciously what happens is the products are built for men too. And so women are just, and if you look at statistics also, only 1 out of 10 women feel like they really understand and know investment. And if you're not investing, you're losing money to inflation. Like the currencies, and that's the biggest, I think like everything is a meme coin. Like the US dollar is a meme coin. It's just like, oh, we think it's worth something. Working class is like making money, putting it into a savings account, and then inflation eats up the gains, and there's a silent shift. It's like a robbery from the ultra rich, from the ultra poor. We're just shifting wealth from the very poor that don't know anything about investing, that are just saving their money or having a month-to-month paycheck, to the people who have gold, real estate, Bitcoin. So that's really like, and the other thing about this is like women who don't know about investments are much, and Kamala Harris talked about this when she was on the Call Her Daddy podcast, that in abusive relationships, which are quite common, the women who stay are the ones who are not on top of their finances, because you get dependent, like, and there are other factors that go into that too, but there is a real thing there. And like what I see in our industry is like people are like, yeah, it would be nice with more women, but there are very few of the big projects that are actually like putting their, like
money where their mouth is.
Yeah, that's exactly the expression I'm looking for.
Did you guys see the SheFi summit all day yesterday? I didn't have a chance to go because I wanted to meet with a couple of products and companies who are elsewhere. But SheFi is an organization that does great work. And it was actually
on TikTok as well.
It was actually the founder's birthday yesterday, and she got to spend it like facilitating this wonderful educational experience for women first. And there were lots of good videos of all the women in the room. And I saw the sentiment from many people who participated. Our friend Brooke Lacey said that she was there. Evan McMullen was there, friend of the show. And just this sentiment of like, yeah, it's an event full of women, but every crypto event should be, if we made it a place that was actively welcoming, that was intentional about include. I feel like a lot of people in crypto are like the friendliest, nicest people I meet for the most part. But if we're not intentional about being inclusive, then it's easy to create a unhelpful culture.
Yeah, and I know Maggie, the founder of SheFi, and I love what they're doing. It's the same as we're doing. Our community in Sweden is about the same size as SheFi, so we're doing that in Europe. And I think that there's something, like what I found though, was like women are doing this like, hey, let's teach women how to invest in male-founded cryptocurrencies. Let's do education, we'll do branding, we'll have the branding role, and we'll have these dudes that are just like speculating in meme coins and launching Bored Apes Yacht Club, and even like, and this somebody has to fact check, but like somebody told me yesterday, like World of Women.
Oh yeah, check yourself, brother, by men.
By a dude.
I think it was two of them. I think it was two of them, and I think it got taken over. I think it was a takeover or a purchase that they bought it back from these guys, but there's a lot of that going on. There was a meme coin trend last year where on Solana, all of these very like racist, tokens started popping up. Like there was an N-word token, and then there was a, whatever, just all these really racial, horrific things. And they were going crazy. And then there was a token called End the Racism on Solana. And there are all these like opposite memes. And I'm pretty sure that some of the same people who are launching tokens on this side were like, well, now let's play the other side of the coin. Let's sell something to these suckers. And really doesn't care because they're enriching themselves. So that kind of thing happens all the time,
Yeah, and also FUD, actually. Somebody mentioned yesterday, there was like, they had like put money into going after like a horrible coin, which was like child abuse unless you pay me money through this coin.
Oh my God.
And they called, they brought in like the FBI and they put their personal crypto funds to go after them. Turned out to be, there was no person doing that. It was put out to create FUD.
Yeah.
Like there are all these troll factories as well. And like, it's very hard to know in our digital age of deepfakes and so forth, what is even real. So I think we have a lot of, and I think blockchain technology has a lot of good solutions for that.
Sure.
Proof of identity. I met another wonderful female founder yesterday building that. Yeah.
That was one of the reasons I really loved Bitchcoin, and the shirt was just, and we talked about this when we were talking about my proposal in the build-a-thon. You were like, okay, but what is it? How do people know? If you try to include everybody, sometimes you don't get enough traction. That's just divisive and engaging and sharp enough that some people will hate it and some people will love it, and they will fuel each other, and that will generate attention.
Yeah.
That's powerful.
Yeah, and that's what I found too when I've been educating women in the past and building these communities, is like the women who showed up were already CEOs and C-level type women, because they were empowered enough to feel like, yeah, fuck yeah, I can learn about decentralized systems and hash rates and block sizes and really go down into the deep level understanding technology. And then like you tell someone like, hey, you want to come learn about blockchain? And like, yeah. And then you wear the Bitcoin shirt and like, oh my God, what is that? Can I buy your shirt? And you want to be part of it. And like, I also looked into like, what is it with cryptocurrency? Like I did a lot of user interviews of what brings people into crypto. And the two things that everyone had in common was, number one, people want to make life-changing returns. There's nothing bad about that. I think we live in a society that is really tough, especially here in America, like coming from Scandinavia, where I see like social democracy working really fucking well. A lot of people are just like, it's hard because of money. And so they go to crypto as a way to actually like, here is a place, again, like the real estate for our generation. Number two, they want to be part of something and they want it to be their identity, and they want to, similar to what the rock bands were back in the days for the Gen Zs and the millennials, it's like, I'm part of this culture, I'm part of this fan group, and we're doing this fun stuff together. And in a healthy way, that is like, yeah, we have collectibles, nothing wrong with that. It's digital merch, basically. And we're learning together and we're co-creating together. Then you also need, like we've seen, like DAOs are not, like totally decentralizing everything does not seem to be working well. We've seen that over and over again in crypto, but like I think something like a well-functioning democracy compared to TradFi structure of companies that are very like, it's more, that's also very extractive, because once you're on the stock market, you have a board. The board's job is to serve the stock owners. That's who they're representing.
Yeah, to make
the
more
people
money.
who make more money, not the users, the customers, the humans.
Yeah. Alex, you look like you had a thought.
Oh, no, sorry. I'm just going back and forth.
What's happening in the comments? Give me an update.
So I think there's a lot. Some people were kind of concerned that it sounds like, you were brought here to get ganged up on. And if that ever came across, I hope that it's clear that was
God,
like,
I certainly hope not.
That's not the point.
I feel like we really failed.
Yeah, I would. So I don't know. That was one thing I just wanted to address quickly, that I think, learning has to be at the center of all of it. And if that's a focus, then, people have to use tokens to do things, kind of like I said before. I don't know. There was
that's,
a weird,
and that's, I want to say to our,
comment on this?
naysayers and detractors, like, hey, the reason I invited Tuva to come is because I thought she had a really good justification had already thought about all those things and had strong answers for them and wanted to showcase through conversation. Contrast creates not just drama, but it very much can help us highlight gaps in our understanding and learn something new. And I think our audience especially sees a lot of people who aren't skeptical enough in cryptocurrency. And I hope you don't feel ganged up on.
I think that it's I think it's really healthy to have real conversations like we're having here. I think that's really, really good. I think there's also structures that are underlying women are not allowed. Women are held back by this unconscious bias of like, women are supposed to be good. You're supposed to do only good things. If you have a token, you're a woman. How like provocating. You're supposed to be a mom. You're supposed to be like Saint Maria. And guys like are held by different, there's a different accountability, right?
I would agree.
That's something that's definitely like, is that at play here? I don't know.
On our platform, it certainly is because we're men and definitely have biases. But I would invite you to see some of our past episodes where the people we mostly rip apart. I say rip apart, but hold a candle to just by the fact of demographics in our industry are most often, wouldn't you say, men? Didn't you say there's a creator on TikTok called Alvarez who makes videos? He's a man who promotes a meme coin in a very, I will say, illegal way. Most people we see on the platform who do it are men.
I think that the conversation we're having is a really healthy conversation. I think it's just very important to separate what we're doing with Bitchcoin. Like I've poured my personal savings. Me and my husband poured our personal savings into Bitcoin for a year.
But that's not why it's ethical or compliant.
Let me finish. In order to not make it that, we could have pulled out millions already. Like with my network in crypto and the meme coin markets, we've been told so many times, just launch it, just put it out, let it be a meme coin, just do that. We're saying Bitcoin is Bitcoin. It's something different, and we're doing it in a very responsible and healthy way. What we're doing, the token is one part of our platform.
Yeah.
However, I like you guys. I've felt very like warmly welcomed here, and let's continue the conversation.
Yeah. Tell me more about your next steps and vision for how the learning platform will unfold, or how people in our audience can engage, support, and what they can expect to see next.
Yeah, so anyone who's on LinkedIn should definitely follow Bitchcoin on LinkedIn, because there we're posting like, hey, weekly updates and content about the project, and also content about what's happening with Bitcoin. Why are the markets down? Of course, no financial advice, but like we found that like a lot of people who are not so like crypto savvy, they're not on Telegram, they are on LinkedIn. So definitely follow us there. The learning platform, and I want to invite anyone who's in the industry, who works like in the industry. We're inviting women from all of the projects to come and talk on our learning platform, the Bitcoin Academy. And so if you work at like Chainlink, we have some friends at Chainlink Biddle, you can come and explain like, what are you really doing with Chainlink? What is that? But to beginners, not like we normally like. A problem with crypto is, of course, the crypto meetups. If you show up to a crypto meetup in any city, it's going to be mostly male. It's going to be very deep technical language and like abbreviations that most people don't know what it is. And it is made to be exclusive, similar to how TradFi is doing it. If anyone's watched The Big Short, like we're doing the exact same thing in crypto. We're making it exclusive. So yeah, those are the things. Definitely join our Telegram chat as well. Bitcoin Army, and follow us on Twitter. It's _Bitcoin. And there are so many ways to participate.
Okay.
Like we are co-creating, like my friend is just making a Bitcoin song. Like he's put out a really good album, Vincent Crypto Noah. We'll post about that soon. And yeah, we just invite you to, and the other thing is, tell one woman that you love about crypto, and tell her about crypto, and bring her to our LinkedIn page to follow, and let her learn together with us. Because I find like a lot of people are like, oh, I told my wife and she's not really into it. And it's like, yeah, but like if you brought her to a crypto meetup, it's just mostly male, and guys are just like, it's also this thing that like even men, a lot of men are wonderful and great and really aware. Some men are not aware of even the vibes they're putting off, like especially after a couple of beers. And then it's just like, oh, you came there to talk about technology, and it just ends up like everyone is just like treating you like a woman, not like another person there. I don't know if that makes sense.
It does. Even in my relationship with my fiance, I think I have, a tendency, especially because we're so familiar, like hearing she lives where I work. And so she knows more about crypto and blockchain than probably 99% of all people. But the last thing she wants is for me to like tell her. That's not what she wants. She would probably prefer and enjoy a space that centered someone like her and was not just, honey, you need to buy Bitcoin or whatever I would say.
As long as you're not, I mean, it's healthy to teach people. The problem is when you get into a call and people are mansplaining you.
Yeah.
And that's a real thing. And I was just like, what is it? Sometimes my husband will like overhear business calls with partners and they will like start to mansplain. And like the fact is like, wait, I worked in this industry for 8 years. I know it so fucking well. Like I teach companies how to innovate with the technology. Like, and then some guy on the call is just like talking down to me or like, let me tell you about meme tokens or let me tell you about tokens, and my husband will be in another room and he'll text me just like, fuck that guy, get off the call, don't do business with him.
I love it.
So I think like, but the thing with Bitchcoin is like, we invite men and women to be part because we don't like this polarizing thing. Like I love men, I love women, I love any gender. I'm really into us co-elevating together. I think blockchain has been channeled in from like the universe to do some good work here, and I think it's really needed when we step into the world of AI. And so like I can talk about these things. There are definitely like I had the honor of meeting like the princess of the Netherlands recently in San Francisco, and she put it so well. She said the problem is that women are perceived as less valuable human beings, and I was like, oh, no one had ever put it like that, but that's what it is. Unfortunately, just like people of, there are many different groups in society that are seen as less valuable because of attributes, right? And that's like, we're all about like equal access to opportunity and speaking the language, leveling with and speaking language of women and also people who are not from a privileged background of like university degrees and so forth. So I think what I want to say here is like, I think it sounded like I'm like against men maybe, and I'm absolutely not. Like I really like,
I don't think that came across
feminine
that way.
and masculine, like coming together. So the thing we want is really for everyone, just invite the women you love into crypto, tell them about that, hey, there are all these awesome women that are doing stuff in our space. And and like Bitcoin, I think, is a pretty good, like we're teaching women about Bitcoin. We think Bitcoin is a very safe, volatile asset.
Sure.
But I recently I was on live TV in Sweden. I was debating our most famous national economist about the national economy of Sweden. Should we put Bitcoin in the national reserve or not? And and my thesis is I think Bitcoin is going to 10x over the 5 to 10 years. And of course, it's not financial advice. But I do think that Bitcoin holds the best hedge against the normal currencies debasing because we're printing money. Yeah, we're printing a lot of money, and that's what's crazy about when you get into crypto. For everyone here who's not like super deep into crypto, the crazy thing is you get into crypto and you're like, oh, wait, so you can invent currency. If you don't have a cap on like how many tokens you have, you can just print more money out of thin air. And then you look back at the normal economy, you're like, wait, they're doing it. They're doing that. And usually when they put out a package of new dollars, it goes to the people a little bit because we're not supposed to see that. Like they give most of it to the banks. They give most of it to the already very rich. And I think that's like the heart of stuff that I would really like to see change in our societies. Like I want a society and I want tech that serves humans. Mm-hmm. Equal access of opportunity, not just a bunch of capital that's just like ruling. Because here in America, like if you go into any sector and you really go deep into doing your own research, like I think like the fact that we have so much unhealthy stuff in our food, for example, like compared to Europe, in Europe you have to prove that something that you put into food is healthy, is not dangerous for the consumer. In America it's the other way around. You have to prove, you can put anything in there and then someone has to prove that this was dangerous before you take it off the market. And so like, and that's just another example of lobbyism, capitalism, pushing their will to make money off of people. And like, I think that when I say we're at the point of peak corruption, that's what I mean. I think that like people have had it. Like, we've gotten so big in the world, and this is also about the decentralized future, right? It's like humans have always organized in pyramids. There's always a leader. There's like different segments and classes. But today, when we are a big globalized society, the leaders are so far away. Like the top richest people are so far away from the people at the bottom of the pyramid that the human mind can't really comprehend. Of like, wait, what do we need to do for those people?
Sure.
Yeah.
Can I ask you to summarize it again? Because I think we went off into another thought area of the different problems, but people can get involved if they want to participate. How? If you could give them 2 or 3 easy ways.
Yeah, totally. So the ways to get involved is if you want to learn about crypto, follow us on LinkedIn, just Bitchcoin, the Bitchcoin page there.
Yeah.
If you're already into crypto and you want to be an ally of Bitcoin and
Okay.
just help us spread the word and so forth, then join the Bitcoin army on Telegram. We'll post the links. And _Bitcoin on Twitter. Definitely follow us there. Teach the women that you love about crypto and then pass them to our LinkedIn page so they can learn together with us. Also, we have the Learn to Earn platform on Telegram. There's more content coming out there. If you work in the industry, please reach out and come and talk about your company and what you're building and your technology on the Bitcoin Academy. And perhaps you put up some of your tokens as well, because we will put up Bitcoins. We will put up points currently, so it's another legal thing, right?
Sure,
but,
sure.
But bring some of your tokens and we can put them into the Learn to Earn mechanism too.
Very cool.
Yeah. So those are the best ways. And reach out to me as well. I'm here for it. Yeah.
I would love to end the talk today just by, first of all, saying hi to Will. Welcome, Will. Will had to do some business. But we were just going to go maybe back and forth as a final thought to say something you're looking forward to at the conference or beyond. Will, do you want to say hi and share an update on the conference, or say what you're looking forward to before we get out of here?
Hello, I'm at the conference, and I am now in this conversation after talking to a manufacturer about really boring stuff. So I'm excited to actually talk about Web3 and helping people and getting people more included in things where they were excluded typically. So yeah, actual fun stuff. But yeah, that's it. That's all I got to say. And markets are going up and down and sideways, and they'll do that continuously.
Brilliant market analysis. Thank you, Will.
Truly. What about you, Al?
No, I think that conversations like this are unfortunately infrequent, and I enjoy doing stuff like this because if you repeatedly just talk to, we joke about this all the time, if we repeatedly just talk to people that we agree with about every single thing, it really never pushes anyone to get challenged on any of their opinions and confront the fact that you're potentially wrong about something. And like I said, I can't give my disclaimer enough. I'm extremely open to being wrong about stuff. So for anyone who's concerned that I'm like trying to shoehorn my opinion into something and not be, not change my mind if necessary, that's not it. I think the only thing that really matters here is education and authentically representing whatever you're doing. That's really all I care about. I fully endorse and support anyone's right to launch a token. I would never take that away from you. That's not the point of Web3. You can do whatever you want. I can agree with whatever I want. So I just really, really, really appreciate you coming here today and talking to us and sharing all of the stuff that you're working on. And I'm excited to learn more because, again, as it was misrepresented, my other disclaimer is that I'm not familiar with your project. I would like to be. I would never make a specific statement about your project. This is really obnoxious because on TikTok, people come in and out very frequently. Yeah. And if you give one disclaimer at the beginning, then the next 10,000 people that come through don't hear the disclaimer. So I have to repeat myself a lot. So I'm not trying to be obnoxious. It's just sort of the way that it works.
I think we're also like where we're at in space time right now is we had a lot of nasty things happen in the meme coin space.
Sure.
It was really bad. It was really bad. It was really fraudulent. And so like I'm happy we can talk about that. Just important to separate what we're doing with Bitcoin. Bitcoin is not a meme token. So yeah, I think it's a really healthy conversation to talk about. And I really hope that our industry takes this moment to actually look in the mirror and say, okay, peak corruption and scams, how do we protect ourselves from this? And also regulators, because that's something that every like good builder that I know in this space has asked for years. Please protect us from the scammers, so that we
Yep.
can have a good industry and a healthy industry is actually building the decentralized future.
And that's a huge problem. People in the regulatory position feeling like it's them versus the entire industry versus instead of them and more than 80% of the industry concerned about the handful of grifters.
And it's also because, like, from a regulatory standpoint, like, the incentives have been totally wrong. Like, the SEC is financially incentivized to go after the big players, and the big players are the ones who are doing the right stuff. That's why they're big. That's because they've been providing value to the space, like going after the Coinbase, going after Uniswap, going after them, as opposed to all of the scams, all the scammers, the influencer coins that are illegal. Although I'm not a lawyer, so anyway,
These are just opinions.
those are just
shared by
opinions.
idiots on the
Yeah.
internet who
But
could be wrong.
you know, there's so, like you said, there's so many scams that are just easy layup wins, but they're smaller potential incentives for the SEC to, you know, hit them with a fine, right? They can hit a successful company providing value with a big fine and get a big payday. And that's what, like, the financial system or the financial incentives are just not there. And once that can change, like, we really need that.
Yeah, and I mean, if we follow the money and think about who has something to lose about crypto going mainstream and like the healthy part of decentralized finance, the future of finance, those are the banks, and the banks are very powerful and they have a lot of power to influence our leaders. And like, so the last like 5 or 10 years in crypto in America, like founders have left America because regulators have been going out after even the companies like Coinbase. It's just like they've filed everything you need to file.
Yep.
They've really tried to be very legally compliant.
How do we
And
work with you?
yet-
I hate you. What? Yeah.
Exactly. But this is like people who are not in crypto industry is like following this very closely. They don't see that.
Yeah.
So they don't see how, like, wait, there's something structural going after this industry and like pushing it down and keeping it down. And like, also, isn't it crazy that like, oh, the thing that's legal is to call something a meme token. That's the legal thing you can do. Everything else, you got to set up like a BVI Cayman structure and probably leave the country and do something outside of the US. So like, and I just wonder, is that a coincidence, or is it something like, are we like, why hasn't there been regulations to prevent the actual scammers, to protect from the actual scammers? Like, is that in some way like incentivized by the people who stand to gain from the crypto industry being held back? Because it holds the crypto industry back very clearly, because it's what people hear about. Anytime there's like an FTX, like the biggest scam, of course, like anytime that happens, that's what people learn about, and they're like, oh, that's horrible, crypto is a scam. It's like, no, it's a beautiful industry with wonderful mathematicians and philosophers and builders and marketers and creatives coming together to build the future and build something that's serving humans more. But that's like, yeah. Anyways, I can talk for so long.
It's okay. I wanted to get before I leave Alex. Alex, is there something that you're looking forward to the rest of the time that you're at the conference?
Yeah, I'm super excited to just keep seeing people I haven't got a chance to line up with. We're meeting some of our friends from Polygon. I'm going to go meet Katie Bettner for the first time in real life.
That'd be awesome.
Finally, which I'm very excited about. And I don't know, just like I said, I've never done ETH Denver. It's wild that we've been here for days and the conference hasn't started. So I'm excited to.
That's an interesting thing. Yeah.
I usually do the big, more like corporate conferences. So this is totally different. And so far, I'm enjoying like the difference between the two different types of events. And I think in general, like I said, in an industry that is supposed to be totally free, hyper inclusive, and anyone can come here and show up and do something, you got to have events that actually represent, you know, like everybody. Not everyone wants to go to the big corporate ones or the big, you know, Bitcoin mining ones or whatever, but I just love that they all exist. So I'm stoked to be here. I love doing conferences.
Yeah. Okay, Mac, you've been very pensive, a good listener. But I know you've got thoughts in your head, and I would love to get your take on the talk today, or tell us in the days ahead what you're really looking forward to and think is worth paying attention to for the folks back home from the conference.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, I'm obviously a big fan of getting more diversity into the space, whether that be diversity of gender or diversity of race. I think one of the videos, actually, you know, Tatiana, who's a friend of ours, TDM Crypto, shout out. I made a video in like 2021 asking what we could do to get more women creators like highlighted in the space, and then
Remember that video?
Yeah. And she saw that and she's like, "Whoa, who is this guy?" And then we've become great friends since. So that was really cool. So I'm all for that talk. For the regulation stuff, the one thought that I've been kind of going back and forth in my head is, I wonder if this will be an industry that will be kind of like so corrupted by money and politics like pharmaceuticals, because I think eventually regulation will come. The question is, what kind of regulation will it be? Will it be the kind of regulation that actually protects everyone, or will it be the regulation that still holds space for the darkest players to win? So my money would be on the latter, judging by the president that we have in office, launching a meme coin 2 days before he gets elected, and then his wife's. So yeah, I don't know. It'll be an interesting space to be a part of. I think the technology for crypto and blockchain is phenomenal, because it allows anything of value to be created by the community without having to get approval or permission from anyone. So that's what excites me. I also think that crypto is a deeply unserious industry, and a lot of the stuff here needs to just go by way of forest fire. But I think long-term, technology-wise, crypto, the ethos that is decentralization and permissionlessness, and not having censorship, those kind of tenets, I think are here to stay. So I'm excited to be here. I think crypto is a big part of the future that we all have. So yeah, as far as the conference goes, yeah, just I love these conferences too. I'm with Alex. It's just cool to meet people and talk to people and go to events and yeah, have a good time.
I just want to end with one thing that's been a bit of a sentiment in the chat that I understand, and I just want to recognize it and give you a chance to say one more thing about it, maybe for anyone who's missed part of the earlier part of the show about the name. So, and please correct me if I'm wrong. This is my interpretation of it, just having met you today, hearing Evan talk about it yesterday, and kind of what I've taken from this. And then I'll turn it over to you, and you can fill in anything I missed or correct me. I think that in the world of anything that touches any art form, and there has to be a consideration for the art form of part of this. Anytime you're in a new industry, anytime you're trying to make a statement, anytime you feel like, for whatever reason, your voice is not being heard properly or platformed properly, or you want to see something about a thing you love, in this case, the Web3 industry, change, sometimes you have to be loud. And being loud includes making statements, and statements are things that inspire conversation. And it's not necessarily meant to be something that every person who encounters it is going to immediately be like, love it, I'm here for it, I got no beef. Some people are going to be, and I'm sure you've run into this a ton, some people are going to be immediately turned off by the name. Some people are going to immediately want to know, why would you do that? Aren't you excluding certain people who wouldn't want to participate in this? And I think that all of it can be true. But I think at the core of it, your whole point here, your mission really seems to be, so much of this underrepresentation gets swept under the rug or chalked up to just well, if you were good at your job, then you would be bigger and more famous, and a whole bunch of other nonsense. And so sometimes, in order to push the conversation in a direction that in general we seem unwilling to allow it to go, you have to get a little bit bombastic and start a conversation that could include controversy. And I would just want to point out, I think that's so important. And people have been making controversial, political, gender-based, racially based, whatever statements to inspire conversation since the beginning of conversation.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. So Bitchcoin, every woman has been called a bitch. Probably every one of you has been called a bitch too. With Bitchcoin, we're taking the word back to mean what it meant from the very beginning, which is a female puppy. This is, if you look at our logo and actually see it, I think Bitchcoin without the dog comes across as a little harsh. But every time we present it, you also see the dog. And so we're filling it with joy. We're taking it back. Our aim is to every day just remove the toxicity from this word, because it's also a thing that you call women who are ambitious, right? If you gotta compete in modern capitalism, you gotta have be more male as a woman, and then you're often called as a bitch. So that's actually part of what we're doing. We're saying a dog is a bitch. We never call any one woman a bitch. We sometimes do it with our community, like good morning bitches, but
Right.
that's more as like the Bitchcoin community. The idea of it is, of course, like, how do we get loud about this? Because like I said, I've educated women about crypto for a very long time, and I come from marketing, so I know that like in order to get press, and it is working. Like we've already been on the front page of the biggest newspaper in Sweden. We've been on live national television. We've spoken at the United Nations. Many in crypto now know about Bitcoin and Satoshi's puppy. And many women have been educated by us too. So I get it. We're not for everyone. Just like everything, we're putting a thing out. Take it or leave it. If you don't like it, don't interact. And if you if you don't like it and really hate us, don't talk about us. Because if you talk about us, you spread a word, and then it means it's working. So we're putting it out. We know it's fearless and bold, and we're here for it. Like I've been in media in Sweden many times, and so I have threads about me on the internet with like, oh, that fucking bitch, and like it's very real. And our community is so warm and loving that like I don't care. Haters gonna hate, potatoes gonna potato. That's what it is.
That's that classic saying. Potatoes gonna potate. Yeah.
That was well said. Unless anybody has any good jokes or words of wisdom, I think that's a really good note to end this conversation on. I want to encourage everybody to check it out, support the initiatives to educate anybody, anywhere, any chance you get. It's always a good chance to take 1,000x investment is educating yourself. If you want to learn more, then check out the links below. And if you want to learn more about the Rise Up Morning Show, you can find us at theriseuppmorningshow.com. You can come back and join us. I can't believe our week of broadcast is over. When we come back on Monday, I'm not going to be here Monday. It's going to be these guys holding the fort down. We will have more insights from our experience at the conference. And in the meantime, if you want to engage with us, if you got a crypto question we didn't get to, we didn't answer, check us out at discord.gg/riseup. That's our community. It's totally free to join. You can ask a question, share what you know, learn and grow, and we say, rise up together. You're going to find somebody just like you who's a learner in this space, and they will become your best friend. Really, truly, all that's missing is you. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Tuva, for being here. Mac, thank you for being here. Will, truly, it's wonderful. All my friends, everybody, until next time, rise up. Okay, now you got to watch me walk to the camera and turn it off. Bye, everybody. Be safe.